is Jessica Ann Fernandez, and I am the TA for this course. And so in case you weren't able to read the email I sent a few weeks ago, it was a welcome email to the class. I just wanted to briefly tell you a little bit about myself before I get into kind of discussing how your genogram might look like and what to include in it, and how to, kind of personalize it. So anyway, I moved to Anchorage, Alaska in 2018 to attend graduate school. I am in the Clinical Community Psychology PhD program here at UAA. I'm currently in my second year. I took a break for right after the first year, and so I moved back up here this past fall with my partner and my daughter, and so my daughter is 1, and I'm originally from a small town in California. And so, this, I hope that you all find time to do this assignment. Professor Jordan and I, we really tried this semester to do a little bit to do things a little bit differently than we have in the past. We've tried to come up with these kinds of more interactive, personal kind of activities or assignments, whatever you want to call them, that really allow you to tell us a little bit more about yourself instead of, just giving a definition or like an example of a definition from the textbook. That way, you're really understanding the material and we get to know a little bit more about you. Since this class is unique, it is an online course and we don't typically get to meet in any way besides, these kinds of lecture videos. And, so it helps, especially too now with what's going on in the world, to have, kind of those connections built, even if we can't really meet or talk in person. So yeah, basically getting into this, a genogram is a visual graphic of a person's family and the relationships that are within that family. So some genograms may include relationship details or health issues. Clinically speaking, in psychotherapy settings or an integrative behavioral health kind of setting, a genogram could be really helpful in allowing the client or patient to understand their family dynamics. So being able to help them understand when things run in the family, like alcoholism, or maybe explain why a client may behave the way that they do based on these different social interactions within the family system, their own family environment, and upbringing, like values or traditions. And so a genogram typically involves 3 generations. So this could include your grandparents, your parents, and their siblings, and yourself. And within yourself, if you have any siblings, you would include that in that 3rd tier. In case, maybe you don't know your grandparents or you don't know anything about them, you don't know who they are, maybe you have kids, then maybe your kids could be that 3rd tier as well. And so a genogram, as it is a visual, there's shapes involved. And so a square shape will symbolize a male, a circle will symbolize a female. And so if you know that someone in your family or yourself identifies as trans male or trans female, there are also different shapes for that too. So a trans female would be a circle inside of a square, and it'll look like this. And a trans male would be a square inside of a circle. Okay, so as you know, we submit things online for this class, so it is recommended that this assignment is done using Google Drawings, and so the only thing with that is you want to remember that you want to save this as a JPEG, and so it'll tell you something like download or save as, and so you'll pick that one, so you can be able to upload it onto Blackboard easily. Okay, and so within each shape, you're going to simply state inside that shape, what is this person's title or role in your family? So for example, the first thing you might put is grandpa. If this person is your grandpa, what is their name? That's going to be the line right under. What is their occupation? So what do they do? Are they a farmer? Are they a nurse? Are they a doctor? A rocket scientist? Whatever they might be doing. How old are they? So that's the age, and that's going to go under. And then you're going to also put where are they living? So what is the place that they live in right now? Or if they have passed, where did they live before they died? Okay, and so if your family member has passed away, you will put an X through them using 2 lines. And so for the lines, you can find this on Google Drawings right here, and you would pick a line, just a straight line, to symbolize that, and you would put 2 through to make that X. You can also use different lines, like the elbow line, to make those connections to connect parents together, like or couples in the family. And you will also symbolize, whether those 2 people who are connected with each other are married, divorced, or if they are cohabitating. And so I don't know if on Google Drawings if there is a dash line, but if you can find that, that would be for cohabitating. And then there's this little shape you can use that looks like a house as well, and you would put that shape over the line with the word cohab or cohabitating. And so the same thing with marriage, it would be an M on top of that line, that straight part of the line. And if they're divorced, you would put 2 little lines. So go back to that line part in Google Drawings and put some 2 backslashes. And you'll put them side by side and have a D for divorce. And although typical genograms, like I had mentioned earlier, they will discuss they'll kind of help you know more about the relationships within your family. However, for this assignment, we're not going to be doing that. You're not going to discuss or symbolize the quality of those relationships, so you won't be drawing any lines that show, like, there's an estranged family member, or that, you don't talk to someone, or that you don't have a good relationship. So you won't include that this person might have like diabetes or something. You'll leave all of this kind of information out. That only information you need is the relationship information in terms of, is the person married? Are they divorced? Are they just living together but not legally married? Like I had mentioned before, you'll include 3 generations. If you want to make this a little bit more personal, add your own touch to this, you can include pictures representing these different people, these different family members. So, for example, if you have a lot of nurses in your family, like I do, you can put a symbol for RN, or maybe, you have a picture that reminds you of your grandma. You can put that if you don't want to share the pictures of them. Or you can include a picture of your whole family, everybody that's in this genogram. Or maybe you want to put different pictures where, okay, these are the different family groups within my bigger family. And so you can have pictures of different family groups. And so I did this in mine. You can also be creative in another way by having these different color schemes for each family group. So I tried to do this, but I had rushed a little bit getting this done. So I had forgot to change my aunt to one of my dad's sister to green, to fit this shade that I had going on for my dad's side. So I had my dad's side these shades of green, and then my mom's side was kind of shades of yellow. And so her sister married someone who became my uncle, and the same with my dad's sister. These people, I put a different color to represent that, they're within my family system, but we're not related by blood. they married into the family. And then I did the same thing with my sister-in-law and then also my partner. I made myself a different color than my brothers just because I wanted to differentiate who is myself, as there's a lot of different shapes there's a lot of people in my family, and so I wanted to highlight who is me. And I had my family be a different color scheme too, so it's kind of like a pink and red going on. And then my brother's kids are a mix of the colors I chose for my oldest brother and my sister-in-law, so they're kind of like this bluish green. If you come from a really large family like myself, so some people have huge extended families. My dad had 10 siblings, and so he was one of the 11 children of my grandma, and my mom was one of 5. And since most of my aunts and uncles have either passed away before I was born, I've never talked to them, I don't even know what their names are, or they live in the Philippines, so we don't really have a big interaction, positive or negative. I did not include them just because they've also had, like, each of them have had 3, 4, 5, 6 children each, and so as you can imagine, there's not enough space for things like that, for people like that. So although they are part of my family and part of my dad's generation and my mom's generation, I had no space to put that, and so I included my aunts that I do have interactions with. So these aunts, they live in America. Specifically, they lived in the same state that I was from, which is California, and along with their husbands, since they are still married to them as well. If one of them had been divorced, I would have put the D, but I would have still included them. And remember, these interactions do not have to be positive or negative. You're not providing that information, so just, is this person in your life somehow? So try to include as many members that you can as possible that can fit onto that Google Drawing page. You may find that you have to resize the page or your font or shapes to fit everything, and so that's okay if maybe your circle is a little bit more elongated, if you had to squish more members on. And so I just wanted to provide how, an example of just thinking about, even though you're not writing this down, those relationships can have some influence, or, people can have influence in your family of some of your behaviors or your interests. Is my grandma, she was a pianist, a singer, and a teacher, and so I grew up having this love for music. And also I learned how to play musical instruments and sing. And so I also have a love for education, being that I'm a TA now. And like I mentioned in the beginning, so this could also be like how alcoholism might run in the family, or some health issues might be genetically predispositioned, like diabetes or things like that. So do not provide that information, but it's helpful for you to think about those things. In the case that you choose to use this in a clinical or educational setting, depending on the field of study that you're in. Okay, and so that's basically it for how your genogram might look like, and some of those tips that you might want to follow to make it kind of your own work. And I hope you have a great day, and I look forward to reading your genograms.